bad guy character in professional wrestling.
When's the last time you got laid?
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Like, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Can we tell the truth about Dusty sooner or later?
Less people wanted that than are currently watching our stream.
And you know Vince, and you still think, are these true? It's like...
Welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hey, you heard the man. It's the Mark It Down podcast. You're here tonight with the one and only Matt Cascone, Mean Streak Matt, whatever you want to call me. And we're riding solo tonight. So the world's my oyster, and we're gonna get started. First off, I was at SmackDown on Friday. That was a lot of fun seeing the Motor City Machine Guns win the WWE Tag Team Championships from the Bloodline. Again, over on SmackDown Friday night. That was wild. They did a highlight reel of that tonight on Raw. It's what kicked off the show. I mean, if you had said, like at the beginning of the year, like make a wrestling bingo card, the Motor City Machine Guns coming to WWE and winning the SmackDown, Tag Team Championships was not on my radar. I would have thought the belts were still together, the running around with the blue and the red straps. So seeing that, wow, wild, crazy. Again, so nice they had to show it twice. They highlighted it tonight for us on Raw. The show opens. Jay comes out. He does the crowd. He does the yeet. He does the it's just me, Ucey, day one-ish, the whole jam. Crowd's pumped. Crowd's happy to see him. He's talking about stuff that went down. He lost the Intercontinental Championship last week on Raw due to Bloodline interference. Even if it was unintentional, he still blames them. He cost them the titles on SmackDown. He's going over all this stuff that they also showed in the video package. But he's telling us live and in person. Jimmy comes out. There's still a little rift between them. Like, they're cool, but Jimmy goes in for the embrace, and Jay's just like, not quite yet. We did that on Friday. That was in the heat of the moment, but we got some things we got to figure out. But one thing's for sure is people know the difference between us now. You're Jimmy, I'm Jay. We're our own people. We can get back together, but we're also individuals. And that's the most important thing to him going forward if something's going to happen here with Roman. And spoiler alert, on Friday, they filmed back-to-back SmackDowns. They filmed this upcoming SmackDown. So we kind of know, I know where it's going. If you read the internet spoilers, you know where it's going. I'm not going to say anything for now, but I will say there was some interesting things going on tonight on Raw in regards to the Bloodline storyline. I will say right off the bat, I think it is the most important storyline that WWE has going. It's the hottest one. It's not Cody. I wouldn't even say it's The Rock. I think we're all waiting for The Rock to come back, but I don't even think Rock needs to be inserted into the story just yet. It's even without The Rock, it's still the hottest storyline going. We have Jimmy and Jay who have resolved their issues. They're on good terms. And but Jay and Jimmy has also, before reuniting with Jay, he reunited with Roman, and he's on good terms with Roman. But Roman and Jay have not come face to face yet. They have not crossed paths. And that's what Jimmy wants to set up tonight. He says, I want you to come to SmackDown. The episode that I saw already, the one that's going to air on Friday. He wants him to come to SmackDown and squash the beef with Roman Reigns. And Jay says he's going to come to SmackDown. He doesn't say he's going to squash the beef, but he says he'll come to SmackDown. At this point, Solo Sikoa's bloodline, the Tongaloa and Tama Tonga come to the ring. And they surprise Jimmy and Jay, and they're attacking them. And Jimmy and Jay are holding their own. Solo has Jacob Fatu go in, and they get the upper hand. And then I wasn't paying attention, and somehow Jimmy and Jay were able to fight them off. I don't think Solo got involved. But that was the end of the angle. Again, so it looks like we're leading to it's a bloodline civil war again, but this time it's not the implosion of the bloodline, it's the OG's bloodline presumably getting back together to take on Solo Sikoa's New Bloods, the new bloodline, as you will. Anyway, this segment ends. We go backstage. Pierce, Adam Pierce, the general manager of Raw, is on the phone. He's very angry. He's very upset. It turns out he's talking to SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis, and it appears that Nick Aldis had sent Jimmy, and Pierce had approved this. He knew that Jimmy was coming to Raw. He approved this, and he wanted this. He did not approve the sending of the bloodline. So Pierce was pissed about that. Talk about bad timing. Guess who comes in? It's, speaking of new bloods and whatnot, it is the current lineup, of the Judgment Day. And last week on Raw, we had found out that Carlito had gotten a match for Dominic Mysterio with a former world champion. We know Dom wants Gunther in the World Heavyweight Championship. He wants that match. He's not getting it quite yet. To get a number one contenders match, he's going to have to first beat a former world champion. We don't know who it is. We were talking about it on our pod group chat. And a lot of us were saying Goldberg. Now, I'm not a big Goldberg fan. I don't particularly want to see Goldberg win any matches or see him in matches at all. But I'd really like to see that. That to me sounds like fun. Just have Goldberg have a quick match with Dom. Maybe Dom gets a little bit of offense in the beginning, does some heelish moves, tactics, whatnot. And then I just think seeing Goldberg spear and jackhammer Dom would be very entertaining. Excuse me. I think the crowd would really like that too. Sorry, we got something in the group chat here. Who made this title? I made this title. The title tonight is How Jay Got His Ucey Back. Can we at least make it look remotely close to all of our other titles? No, we already started, guys. I didn't get any help tonight, and that's fine. But this is what you get with me. You get the bare bones, and you get a little bit of wild card with old Mean Streak Matt when you get me off the leash, as they say. So that's what's happening tonight. Because I'm the only man here. I'm the only Potter. And the algorithm will not work with whatever it is now. Well, when has the algorithm ever worked for me, Eric? That's what I want to know. I like Matt's title. That's what's in our group chat. All right. But keep the other stuff so it can be searched. People will search that. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know. I thought it was funny, and it wasn't super inappropriate. I had come up with a super inappropriate title for one of our episodes a couple months ago, and James was just like flat out like, no, we're not using that. And I'm like, fine, you're not wrong, James. That was me flying off the handle. So anyway, I really wanted to see that match. Goldberg versus Dominic Mysterio, Monday Night Raw. Sounds cool. I don't think Goldberg's had a match on Raw. All his matches have been PLEs, pay-per-views, what have yous, as far as I can remember since coming back. And I think these guys, do you want to save them for pay-per-views and PLEs? Absolutely. But a surprise, and it's going to be a quick match anyway, we know with Goldberg, just book it on Monday Night Raw. That sounds like fun. Instead, again, the Judgment Day has interrupted a pissed off Adam Pierce, and Adam Pierce says you're going one-on-one Dominic Mysterio with none other than former World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest. And that'll be our main event this evening. And I was immediately like, oh, like, come on, we just saw that match. Like, what the hell? And we're getting into it more, but like I'm just like, I have no desire to continue watching Raw now. Like, if you told me it was Goldberg versus Dominic Mysterio, I would have been like, let's effing go. And I'm going to sit here and we're going to sit here and watch Raw no matter how good or bad it is until we get that match. But instead, it's Dominic versus Damian, and I couldn't care less. And again, I'll get into it more when we get to the match. And there's other reasons for it for me, not making sense either. But we'll continue. Let's see what happens after this. Give me a second. Okay, so we get into our first match. Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. Another match we've already seen it. They even mentioned it the last time they were here in Hershey, Pennsylvania. They had a match, and Kaiser beat Sheamus. So it's a rematch. It's a match we've seen on Monday Night Raw. We're seeing it again. The stakes really haven't changed. It's just a rematch, and it's not even like a stipulation match. Raw's 2 hours. We shouldn't have to keep repeating matches. It's the top of the hour, and you're already telling us, hey, we're having a rematch and another rematch tonight. Like, get used to it. There's nothing new here or exciting. Like, come on. You guys can do better. Sheamus has new music. It's not bad, but again, why would you get rid of his old music? He said he's loved the old music. We're not in the Vince era anymore where Vince was like, nobody remembers that music. By the way, Vince, I remember that music. I think I've sung it on the pod. I'm going to sing it again. Are you ready? Say the words written in me face, 'cause I believe them. I believe them. It's a shame that they lost their heads. A careless man who could wind up dead. You wear your sin like it's some kind of prize. Too many lies. Too many lies. Oh, these words are true, and I'll make you believe. As you fight for air and struggle just to breathe, oh, and you wear your cowardice well, and I will see you ride it straight to hell. So yeah, I know the Sheamus theme music. Anyway, I miss it. Sheamus, let's sing and do karaoke at the bar sometime, fella. I would love to do that. Again, here on my own, kind of do my own thing. And that's when you get karaoke. I go off the rails. Their match was fine. Nothing wrong with it. It was decent. The crowd was kind of dead in the beginning. I'm not going to lie, like for a good portion of it. And then they just started doing moves on the outside, like to the post and to the they tried to do like a power bomb on the announce table, but Kaiser countered it into like a choke. And then he bashed Sheamus into the stairs, and that's when the crowd kind of livened up. The rest of the match was fine. Sheamus won with a brogue kick. 1, 2, 3 win for Sheamus. Didn't really provide anything new here. Both these guys have done better. Both these guys, to me, are not really kicking on all cylinders. I know they're trying to do something with Kaiser, like just keep him in the mix. He's obviously there to protect Gunther, but I also do think they have faith in him, and they want to keep him ready if they want to elevate him. So again, it's good that you're always getting your reps in, you're getting your matches, you're getting TV time. Those are all good things, especially if you're having competitive matches. Like that's always big. Losing isn't that big of a deal if you're booked to look decent in the matches. And that's what happened here for Ludwig. So good for him, but he doesn't really do anything for me. Sheamus's new music does nothing for me. But moving on. Here's where I think things get interesting. Like I said, the Bloodline storyline, it's the thing that WWE is the most invested in, and the fans are at this point in time, with or without The Rock. I think it's the most interesting, important storyline that's going on that people are talking about and most excited about. Anyway, Jimmy and Jay are walking in the back. They bump into Sami Zayn. Sami asks, "Hey Jay," he kind of just says hello, but Jimmy's kind of side-eyeing, and Sami's also kind of Sami asks, "Hey Jay, can we talk?" Jay's like, "Yeah, absolutely." And Sami's like, "Can we talk alone?" And he kind of has a stare down with Jimmy. There's obviously some bad blood still there, which is, I always find the most interesting thing, because if you remember, when Sami Zayn was in the Bloodline, the person that was the most receptive to Sami Zayn was Jimmy Uso. That's where the whole, their whole, handshake came from. Jay was very much against Sami from the get-go for almost the entire time until he left. And then Jay was conflicted. And then obviously they made up. I'm not going to go through the whole storyline. You know what happened. But Sami makes some very compelling points to Jay. He's like, hey, like, why are you getting roped into this? Like, you're your own man. You said it. You don't need to get involved in this. He doesn't say anything about the branding because, I mean, obviously all those guys are on SmackDown. Jay's on Raw. I'm glad he didn't say anything because the Bloodline have invaded Raw 2 weeks in a row now. So that's kind of like null and void. But, sorry. Anyway, Sami's just like, what are you doing? Like, it took so much to get out of this. And he doesn't even say like about himself. He seems strictly like concerned about Jay's situation. And I like that. He's not like, oh, what we went through. He doesn't make it about like himself. It's just like strictly Jay. And Jay's just like, Jay makes some counter arguments, and like you can see it on our story right now, the segment, but not right now. After the pod, watch it. It's a clip from WWE. It's a good little chunk, snippet, and Jay's just like, what you think? You don't think Solo? You think Solo's like better? Like you think Solo's not terrible? And Sami's like, no, that's besides the point. I'm saying you don't have to get involved in this. This is not your business. He doesn't say that exactly, but he's like, you are past this. You are better than this. You are your own man. You're here. They're there. Why get dragged into this again? You know, the mental manipulation you had to deal with, the trauma, the abuse. And like Jay's like, man, you don't get it. And he says it straight up. He's like, you're not family, Uce. And that, oof, you tell that hit Sami deep. That hit him hard. But I think there's something interesting to take away from that. One, yes, Sami is not blood. But that's what he says. He says family, but he also says Uce. Now, Jay does say Uce at the end of a lot of things that he says. But I think in this particular moment, it does... he's saying he's not family, but he's also calling him Uce as a brother. So, which is it, Jay? I feel like he's conflicted himself in this moment. So, Sami's like, all right, and Sami leaves. And it's a pretty compelling backstage segment, and I liked it a lot. Next up, we got a little video package with Gunther, and he's talking about his upcoming match with Cody. He says all these things. One of the things that stuck in my mind, he called Cody a gutless champion. Kind of a brutal take. I mean, I think the only worse thing gutless would be spineless. This was well done. He spoke fluently. He said what he needed to say and got to the point. You know, you always have a better chance of these video packages doing well than a promo live in the crowd, especially with a guy like Gunther, who obviously English isn't his first language, so his promos aren't always the strongest. But he always speaks with purpose, and a lot of times less is more. Again, video package, his promo was good. I wasn't a huge fan of just the background and the camera angles they used. Like, they just kind of didn't feel very compelling to me. That's just a personal, it wasn't like wasn't a huge issue or anything like that. It didn't derail the promo video. I'll give it decent music, background music they had for it. Next up, excuse me, we got Zelina Vega versus Ivy Niles. Ivy Niles, not Niles, not Wild, Nile. They showed they had an interaction last week in a tag match that they were managing for. Zelina Vega hit with the chancla, is that what they call it? You know, the sandal that the Hispanic women would beat their children with. That's the joke, haha. Yeah, child abuse, joking. I don't really care. I'm just like, you know, sometimes they're like, ooh, TV PG, but it's just like, aha, this is funny. Like, this is cartoon violence. And they're okay with it. I'm like, all right, whatever works for you guys. Again, I have no issue with it, but just pointing out sometimes the hypocrisy. Anyway, Zelina comes out. She's got what appears to be new ring gear. Looked very cool. Joaquin Wilde appears to be wearing the same Taylor Swift hat he's been wearing since before WrestleMania. It's like, dude, please get a wardrobe change. Like, I don't know, do something different. Wear a bandana. Like, I don't know, just anything, please. You look like it was fun the first month. Now it's an old look. You got to get a new look, bro. Cruz del Toro, maybe try something out too, but like you're just less noticeable, like as in like maybe you're wearing the same hoodie every week or not. I don't know, but regardless, it's not really about them. It's about Zelina Vega and Ivy Nile. They have a match way too short. This is like, this was a shame because I think this could be good or it could be bad, and it just ended up being whatever because it was so short it didn't matter. Was it super short? No, but like they immediately did like a couple. They maybe did like a minute of moves, and then Zelina hit the Meteora on the outside of the ring, and then they're like commercial break, and they show the little replay of Zelina doing the Meteora. I'm like, the match just started. Do we have to go to commercial break? Couldn't we have gone to commercial break before the match? Like in between them coming out? I don't know, man. Like you just started the match. And I don't think it was even I don't even think it was like a picture-in-picture commercial break. I think it was just a straight-up commercial break. So I thought that was a shame. The rest of the match, like nothing really to ride home about. The only thing I wrote was we got back from the commercial break. Zelina hit a great stun dog millionaire on Ivy Nile. Unfortunately, she followed up with a moonsault that she basically completely missed. And it's just like, damn, you couldn't have gotten a different camera angle on this. It happens. I get it. A moonsault is not the easiest move to pull off. Like missing a moonsault could happen to anybody. Like I'm not gonna like stand here and harp about Zelina's, how good or how not good she is. This was not the end of the world, but just it was a shame. And again, it was such a short match that I literally could tell. Like I've told you, and I know I don't do a lot of highlights of the moves and like what's going on in the story of the match. I do mostly just the feelings and the segments. But again, really, I could just chalk this up match to Meteora, Stun Dog Millionaire, missed moonsault, interference. Ivy Nile hits her new finishing move, which was a what was it? It was a swinging Uranagi, and I actually liked it. It looked pretty good. One suggestion, I would say maybe do a war cry before doing it. I don't know, like just let us know that it's the finish because like she hit it, and again, it wasn't like awesome, but it was pretty good, and I was like, I think that's a finisher. And I will say, I think it's better than her top rope bulldog finisher, which I think is just, it's too much setup. Even though I feel like you could do Zelina, both these gals are like 5'2". Also, like, let's bring back the shorties. Let's get Alexa Bliss out there. Triple threat match of all the women that are like 5 foot to like 5'3". I think the three of them, triple threat matches, they say, are the hardest to pull off. But hey, I'd give them a shot at it. Regardless, Ivy Nile picks up the win. And here is my big complaint about this match. One, I complained about, going to the commercial break after like 30 seconds to a minute of the match starting. Second complaint was the shortness of the match. And now my third complaint is you didn't show a replay of this finisher. She has a brand new finisher. Why not show it off a little bit? You can do a 10-second replay. You can add that to this match without it taking up time from anything else. Like, come on, guys. Like, give the girl a shot. Like, do some kind of focus. If you can't give them the time to have a decent length match, at least give them the one replay of the finish so you can show off her new finisher. That's all I ask. Both these ladies, they tried. They weren't given much. They were able to accomplish a match, and it was fine. Again, there was the one botch. Not really going to hold that against them. It happens. Anyway, we go backstage. Jimmy meets up with Jay. Jimmy's like, everything good? And Jay's just like, yeah, I just told him, like me and him aren't family. And Jimmy's like, yeah, like you're not. But then Jay, and I think this is an interesting point, Jay kind of like goes on the defensive for Sami. He's like, well, yeah, but like Sami, when you decided to, like book it, Sami was there holding it down. So, like Sami, he might not be the blood, but like he's not nothing. He's important, and like you should show him some respect, essentially. And Jimmy's just like, you know what? I'm gonna go find Sami and I'm gonna go talk to him. Jay's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And Jimmy's like, I promise, I'm just gonna talk to him. Like, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. And Jay's like, all right, fine. So Jimmy goes to go find Sami. Next up, Seth Rollins comes to the ring. He's doing a promo. He gets the crowd riled up. Pretty standard promo about his upcoming match with Bronson Reed. I am looking forward to this match. I know I haven't been reviewing all the Raws, but you'll remember I did review the one where Bronson Reed did do all the tsunamis to Seth Rollins. I believe it was, God, how many was it? Was it half a dozen? Was it a dozen? I don't remember. It was insane how many more. I remember specifically saying the fact that it was more than 3 was crazy. Regardless, Seth's doing the whole rah, rah, rah speech, dealing with monsters. He could be a monster himself. That's when Reed comes onto the Tron and he's like, hey, I told Pierce that I wasn't, I had to promise Pierce I wouldn't come to the ring and blow shit up. But I'm out here in the parking lot if you want to throw down. So Seth takes off his blue jacket. You see him go through the back. You see him go make a beeline towards Bronson Reed. Adam Pearce is in the middle. He's like, no, you have the match. You have the match at the pay-per-view. They're going to have the match at Crown Jewel this Saturday. I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping it's a one-off and that Bronson Reed can win. We'll figure that out on Saturday tonight. Seth Rollins, like I said, he's making that beeline. He pushes past Bronson Reed. Security is already on Bronson Reed, and Bronson Reed's just flipping them off. Effing them up. He's going to town on them, and then him and Seth start brawling, and they brawl towards the truck with the bed. The work trucks, the 18-wheelers. You know what I'm saying? Where they store everything in the back, the back of the trucks, the trailers. So it's kind of comical here. Let me see what I wrote down. They have these crates, they have crates, like big crates, and they're just kind of comically stacked up like stairs next to the truck. And the stairs aren't tall enough that you get on top of the truck, kind of like how Edge and Orton got on top of a truck for the WrestleMania match a few years ago during the pandemic, the 2020 match. But it was high enough for them to get on top of the car that was next to the truck. So it's like the car, the comical stairs, and then the truck. And kind of the opposite way if you're watching the way I did it. But regardless, I will say they were stacked up one too many because it made me think that they were going to go on the roof of the car, like the top. Instead, they went to the hood. They were whacking each other and whatnot, hitting each other. And Seth managed to hit a stomp onto Bronson Reed's head on the roof, the hood, sorry, not the roof, the hood of the car. Seth pretty much got all of it, but he did slip as he was hitting it. So he kind of landed on his butt. Wasn't the worst thing in the world. He was able to sell it oh, no big deal. It wasn't a laughable moment, but it's something I did notice. Let's put it this way. It was not as bad as I had say. Remember when Kofi Kingston was feuding with Orton the first time and he dropped the bucket of paint on the car and he slipped and he almost fell? That would have been way worse than what Seth did. Let's put it this way. When Chris Jericho was fighting CM Punk on their way to WrestleMania, when Jericho slipped with the Jack Daniels bottle and all the Jack Daniels, that was worse. So no big deal. Seth walks away. He's coming to the camera saying that's what I'm going to do to Bronson at Crown Jewel. See, I can be a monster too. Yada yada yada. But Reed gets up. Bronson Reed gets up like Undertaker or something. It's cool. They start going at it again. Seth throws an apple box at him, which was hilarious to me as someone who's worked as a PA. A trash can gets thrown. Seth, for whatever reason, I guess he wants to do a dive, goes into the back of the trailer, and that's when Bronson throws a trash can at him and hits him right in the head. It's great. Then Bronson Reed goes into the tractor trailer with him, picks him up, and dives off of the tractor trailer, doing a Death Valley driver onto like a bunch of tables that are like covered and stuff. And it was great. It was great. It was so much fun. I think my favorite part was Adam Pearce screaming the entire time. This guy is so good. And I'm not even saying that because I've met him personally and he's like been a really good dude. I just think he's great at just being an authority figure. He's got a good speaking voice, but he's even got a better scream, yelling. It's just great. It's like, no, no. It's very entertaining, not too over the top. And Bronson Reed walks away from this while Seth has to go to the hospital. So it's cool. It's a great, fun spot. And I really hope they do a video package. I really hope Bronson wins this, but it seems like they're just having Bronson kill Seth in their encounters. And I guess this will be the last encounter they have till Crown Jewel. And if you're like me and James and you follow the rules of Optimus Prime, if you follow the rules of opposite momentum, you'll know that if you're looking good going into the pay-per-view, that usually means you're going to lose. And Bronson Reed was definitely on top at the end of this episode of Monday Night Raw. This is the last stop for them till their match at Crown Jewel. So unless there's some sort of X factor in the match, I think Seth is winning this match, which is a shame. I really think Bronson needs it, especially since he just lost to Braun Strowman that Seth interfered in. But moving on. R-Truth bumps into Alpha Academy. What are they doing with this group? Like, why are they still the Alpha Academy? Just rename them. Do something. Oh, my God. It's terrible. No, the thing is, like, they're all somewhat charismatic, entertaining, talented. I mean, it's not much, but just have Otis, like, have him... Maxine, unless she was only interested in Otis's looks as a model to have him be as part of the Maximum Male Models, it felt like she wanted to be with Otis. And then Otis, like a couple months ago, called her sister. And I'm like, well, I guess that's not happening. But it's like, dude, just make them a couple. Like, do something. And I'm sorry about Tozawa, like, because he's really good, but he's doing absolutely nothing. And you never want someone to get fired if they're not a horrible human being. And Tozawa's not a horrible human being by any means. But, like, sometimes you want people to get released because maybe you think they'll have better luck somewhere else. Like, and I feel like that's what I got for Tozawa. Like, I think Japan would, like, love to have that guy. And there'd be so much stuff for him to do. Because this is just nothing. And it's like, why is he here? It's just nothing anymore. And that's unfortunate. Anyway, R-Truth talks to them and he's like, hey, you're not there with that little short guy anymore. And it's like, Tozawa, I think, is shorter than Gable, but whatever. He can't come up with a name. And Otis says, Master Gable. And R-Truth says, you can't say that on TV, which I thought was so funny. I didn't laugh, but I'm just like, that's a good R-Truth joke. I appreciate that. What happened? Miz comes through. He wants to reunite with R-Truth. He wants to be the Awesome Truth again, because again, he's trying to escape from the Wyatt family, the Wyatt Six. The Alpha Academy tell them no, and it's like, Alpha Academy, mind your fucking business. This has nothing to do with you. I don't care if you've had issues with people trying to come back after the Wyatts, but you guys are doing nothing right now. Go away. And Miz basically calls them all jobbers, and it's great. R-Truth says, yeah, let's totally reunite. They do the handshake. They're good. And then R-Truth just decks him. And this is crazy. He says, good luck with the Wyatt Six. Y'all gonna die. He just said that straight. He didn't go like, lol, or like, it blew my mind. Like, I figured that would be something to be like, you can't do that in PG. Like, again, it's not a big deal, but you know how, like, sensitive they are sometimes. So just, like, he just threw that line out there, caught me off guard. It was funny. He walks away. He walks past Pete Dunne. He says, sup, Butch? you seen Pete? And I'm like, R-Truth just owned this entire segment from start to finish. Like, this man is a class act. And again, we go back to the theory, like, is R-Truth secretly a genius? Does he know every move he's making? Is he crazy like a fox? What's going on here? But I liked it, and I hope we get some more layers of R-Truth like this, where it's like, maybe he is crazy, but maybe he knows every move he's making. Anyway, this next part annoyed me. They talk about the New Day and this whole thing with Xavier Woods, and they've mentioned this more than once. They will do a better job saying it later, but I'm going to go off what they say first. They say it's been a 3-year drought for them, referring to Tag Team Gold. They won the NXT Tag Team Championships in 2022, December of 2022. It has been 2 years, not 3, not 3.5. It has been 2 years since the New Day have held Tag Team Gold in WWE. Like, why are we disregarding the NXT title reign? They won them fair and square, 2-on-2 versus Pretty Deadly, and you just make NXT look bad in this situation by doing this, and I don't appreciate it. Do I like NXT as much as I used to? Absolutely not. Like, I don't watch it. But God damn it, dude. Like, come on. Like, you stop burying your own third brand. Regardless, they have a match. It's a triple. It's weird how they're doing these number one contender matches. Like, they don't just do standard tournaments anymore where it ends with a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-2. Now it's like we're doing triple threats. They've been doing this for a while. It is an interesting concept to have a triple threat match where it's 3 teams, 3 guys all in the same ring at the same time, and you can only tag out your own partner. Typically, it'll be like it'll be like 4 teams, only 2 guys in at a time, and they can tag anybody. So interesting how this 3-way works. Again, I don't dislike it, but I feel like I'd like it more if it was like a trios match, like 3 versus 3 versus 3 doing this, and 3 men in the ring. I think that would work better. And also the fact that all these tournaments seem to be triple threats, maybe to like protect someone. I don't really know. I don't really get it. Anyway, it's the finals of the tag team tournament to have somebody face off against Judgment Day, and I don't think they're doing this at Crown Jewel, which again, it blows my mind. Another PLE where the tag titles are not defended. I joked on SmackDown that like, oh, the Motor City Machine Guns are the number one contenders. Awesome. Maybe they'll get the challenge of the PLE. And they're like, nope, we're doing it tonight. We're doing it the same night. And I'm like, joke's on me. Anyway, it's a pretty standard match between New Day, LWO members, Rey Mysterio, and I was about to say Luchasaurus, and then I was say Lucha Dragon, Dragon Lee, and the War Raiders. I forgot to mention when they came back, when I was doing a review of Raw, I did not say War Raiders. I still think I was calling them Viking Raiders, or at least I didn't say, oh, they're back and they're the War Raiders again. Unfortunately, they are still Eric and Ivar. They are not Hanson and Rowe, which is annoying. But what are you going to do? Anyway, pretty standard match. Not much to say. Just the ending, they're doing the whole Xavier Woods probably going to turn heel. I'm sure he'll probably do it on the 10-year anniversary of New Day getting together, or at least Big E will come back and maybe we'll get some sort of progress to that story. But tonight, it looked like Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee were going to win. It looked like Rey Mysterio was going to go for the 619 on Kofi Kingston. Instead, Chad Gable, still salty about the loss to them last week, grabbed Rey from the outside, grabbed him, pulled him outside, and hit him with the ankle lock, leading to the War Raiders being able to kill Kofi Kingston and become number one contenders. I like this. I hope War Raiders win. I don't think there's much else you can do with Judgment Day being tag champs. I mean, I feel like Finn's still involved with Damian. And it was fine to have one PLE match with a tag team champion in a singles match. I don't think you can get away with doing that again. And they haven't really done much with the titles, except they brought them to Ireland. That was cool. Good for you guys for going home and doing like a local promotion. That was fun. But again, just the fact they won them is cool. Like, good for them. Like, that's JD McDonough's first title reign on the main roster. I would say War Raiders need this. They were a huge hit in NXT. They were unstoppable. They were NXT Tag Team Champions, and they left NXT Tag Team Champions. They vacated the titles and went to the main roster, and they were unfortunately the Viking Experience. And it's been up and down since then. I think their graphic is really cool. They're as good as ever, and they just need some big, strong wins, and they're getting them. And I would say just keep going with it, roll with it. Again, the Judgment Day could even win the tag titles back. It's not the first time they've done that. If you're not digging the War Raiders as champion, if it's not working out the way you want, but I'd say go for it now, and we'll figure out if it works later or not. But they need the heat. They need something big, because they have not had something big in a long time as a team, as far as tag titles go. They've had like a couple big Valhalla matches or whatever, Ragnarok matches. I don't know, with New Day. I could take them or leave them, to be honest. Those style matches. Anyway, next up, this is the part that was weird. Miz is backstage. It gets weird. I'll get to it. Miz is backstage. He's talking to Adam Pearce. He's like, I'm the first ever 2-time Grand Slam champion. I should have security. Like, why aren't you helping me? And it's just kind of like, I'm just immediately like, well, you've got to be really successful and have a lot of money. Then you should hire your own security team. That's what they do. But then again, if you're Goldberg, I guess Goldberg was going to kill everybody, so that's why he had a security team. But I digress. Adam Pearce is just like laughing at him. Final Testament come and confront Miz. Miz is stuck between a rock and a hard place. You know, he doesn't want to join the Final Testament, but he also doesn't want to get killed by the Wyatt Six. And, basically Karrion Kross gives him an ultimatum. He's like, hey, one of my guys, took a bullet for you last week. You're in this. And if you're not with us, I'm going to break your legs. So go find Bo Dallas tonight. That's what I want you to do. And that's the last we get of this segment. Like, I thought for sure we were going to see the Wyatt Six tonight. I thought for sure the main event, a match we've seen already with the same stakes, nothing new going on, Damian Priest versus Dominic Mysterio, I thought that was going to either end in shenanigans and the Wyatt Six would come out, or it would end and then the last thing of the night would not be a match, but it would be something with the Wyatt Six, Miz, and possibly Final Testament. It was not. It was just the Damian Priest Dominic Mysterio match, which I will go into in just a moment. First up, we get another segment. It's Jimmy looking for Sami, like he said he was going to. He goes outside. He runs into Jay. Jay's like, hey, you find him? And he's like, Jimmy's like, shh. It's like, look. They see, this is the most interesting part of the night. They're kind of like, they went out a doorway, and it's definitely like it's a handicap ramp. And it's down low, and up high is street level, and it's the parking lot. So they're like, they're peeking up like this to the street level, and they see that there's an Escalade with Solo Sikoa poking his head out of the front passenger side window, and he's talking to Sami Zayn. And it looks like they're just having a straight up conversation. It doesn't look like they're chummy, but it also doesn't look like Sami is being super defensive. It's just like Sami just like kind of chilling there in his hoodie, talking to Solo Sikoa. So it's like, that might be the wrench in the works that our description of our title tonight was. So is how Jay got his Ucey back. I mean, he's got his yeet back. He's had the yeet for a while, but is he getting Ucey? Who's to say? Where will Sami preside in all this? And I will say this, I did have spoilers for the next episode of SmackDown. Those spoilers do not involve, I'm not even going to do them. I'm going to say, this is a spoiler, is that nothing happens on SmackDown this coming Friday involving Sami Zayn. They don't even mention it. It's strictly about Jay coming to SmackDown to see Jimmy and to possibly squash the beef with Roman Reigns. You'll have to wait till Friday to see what happens. But again, nothing happens with Sami Zayn. I think they might be saving that for the pay-per-view or maybe after. Sorry, the PLE. But we'll see what happens there. But I thought that was the most interesting part of the night is, again, this Bloodline storyline. I think having Sami involved, I think it's kind of predictable. Again, I imagine that it's going to be what you got: Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu. That's 4 dudes. You got Roman Reigns. If you're talking original bloodline, you got Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso. Sami Zayn was the next member. Eventually Solo joined them, but he's obviously not joining them there. So that's 4 versus 4 right there. The Rock doesn't have to get involved yet. I don't think Sami would go to the new bloodline. That would be 5 guys versus 3. I don't think that would happen. But we'll see. That's just my theory right now. Anyway, the Priest Dom match was fine. It had a decent amount of time. Dom asked everyone to stay in the back. Of course, they all come out. And, actually, I don't think Finn came out. I didn't notice Finn. All I know is that Damian started killing Carlito and JD McDonough with a chair. Dom is able to roll him up and grab his his pants, his tights, whatever, and get the 1, 2, 3. So surprise upset win for Dom. It looks like he's headed to our number 1 contenders match for Gunther's World Heavyweight Championship. But after the match, Damian Priest just completely killed Dominic Mysterio. It was interesting that Raquel never got involved. Like, you think she would have stood in the way. Again, she's the muscle. She's specifically there for Liv, but also for Dom. And, it's just weird that none of the women got involved. Like, they kind of went in, and then, as soon as Damian was ready to attack again, they bailed out. They didn't try and stand in the way. You're going to hit a woman? The kind of typical stuff they do. But that's how the show ended, and I was surprised there was nothing to do with Miz and the whole finding Bo Dallas that night. Why would you introduce that idea and never follow up on it again? That seemed very odd to me. The episode, I would say, was mediocre to average. None of this matches really stood out as anything more than typical average television fodder. Sure, there was a couple good moves here and there, but again, you had 2 rematches, 2 matches we saw 2 months ago, and there was nothing new to them except for the winner. That was the only difference. We have a number 1 contender tonight in the War Raiders, so that's something to look forward to. Nothing from Braun Breaker. I feel like they could have included a squash match for him or something. Again, I'm glad it's 2 hours though. Please stick to 2 hours. It's much easier to review 2 hours. I don't want to watch 3 hours of Raw and then have to review it for 2 hours. I don't even want to watch 3 hours of Raw, period. I don't think many people do. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. The 2010s, the early 2010s were not a great time period for WWE in ways of match caliber and watchability and what have you. But I will give them credit. It was fun that every once in a while you would get a 3-hour Raw. It'd be like, we're doing the Slammies tonight. It's 3 hours. Tonight's WWE All-Star night. It's 3 hours. Can we please get an old school Raw night? We haven't had one of those in quite some time. I think I meant to look it up on my phone, but I think the last time was when the Shield got attacked by Jake the Snake Roberts at the end of the night. And that was I think that was before the Raw is War, let me look up. Raw is War set. Raw is War set. Come on. Yeah, it was the Evolutions of Raw sets. Give me a sec, guys. Here, I'm gonna, because remember, it was the specifically was a set. It was like where the stage said RAW, and they would walk in like the A was back, like farther, and they could walk past the A. Let's see. Okay, 95 was just the A stage. So yeah, they should do, yeah. So this was the stage they had. So that was 95. Like, basically, I guess technically that's right before the Attitude Era. The Titantron they introduced in 97. Yeah, me personally, I would say go to 2003. Do a like I don't think you really need to do a Raw is War. Like if they were going to do a old school Raw night, I don't think they need to bring back the Raw is War, stage. I think people want to see like the 2003 to like 2005 scenarios for Raw and SmackDown. I think that's when we're thinking old school. I think people are ready for like the ruthless aggression era, like comebacks, because there's been so much obsession over like the Attitude Era for so long. But again, like the Across the Nation song, like move it to the music, yeah, like the lies, the money, in this together and bring it on the stage. Nothing's forever, and if you choose to see the things in me, why won't they wake up? Yeah, see, that was a half-ass karaoke. That wasn't as good as my Seamus, but regardless, I think people would love to see that intro video packaged with new stars. We see it all the time. People do updates on YouTube with the old footage of the music video with the new footage of WWE superstars. People love that song. Bring back that stage. Bring back that logo. Obviously, you can keep the new WWE logo part of it. I don't think anyone has an issue with that. You obviously can't do WWF, even though by 03 it was no longer WWF. I mean, actually, you could bring the old school WWE logo back. Regardless, bring back an old school Raw night. I guess that's what I was saying. Tonight's episode of Raw was not great, but again, it was 2 hours that I watched, and I'm talking about it for under an hour, and it's not midnight yet, so I can go to bed at a decent time. It's not bad. Anywho, this has been the Mark It Down podcast. I've been your host tonight, Matt Cascone. It's just been me, myself, and I. Usually we run a tighter run crew ship, whatever you call it, with graphics and what have you. Wasn't able to do that tonight. My bad. I'm not the technical guy. I'm not good at it. I've tried. I need to do a PowerPoint or something like that. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see. We have some giveaways to do. I know we've been behind on that. We apologize. We do have the winners. We do have the prizes, obviously. Those are coming. Just please bear with us. Be patient. We appreciate it. Again, these are free giveaways, guys. So hopefully no one's complaining that we're just taking too long. They're free. It's like, and they're not free for us. They're free for you. They're not free for us. Anyway, we love you. Thank you so much. Keep in touch. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and X. And specifically, I do the Instagram, so Mark It Down Pod. That I'm doing most of the stuff on Instagram, and then my personal Instagram, Mean Streak Matt. And if you like Lego content, you can follow me at Matt's Minifigs. I try and do Lego wrestling as well. So always stay on top of that with us. We love you. Thank you so much. Have a good night. And I don't even know how to do the end credits. Did the beginning credits. Let me see if I can do the end credits. Shit. Okay. Old intro, background music, countdown, mid-episode outro. Fucking mid-episode outro it is. Bye.